what we get to do now is, this is a policy conference, and soon we're going to be having an incredible legislative champion join us. But before that, we get to talk about policy issues. This is the time to actually dig in to it. What are the priorities in the legislature this year for the disability community? Nicole, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce this next session.
Now it's time to further the conversation about civic engagement so you can stay informed and be educated about what is happening in the legislature. Let's welcome Teresa Anderson and Jordan Lindsey from the UCP California for this important update.
Thanks so much, Nicole. So, welcome, Teresa. Glad you're with us.
Thank you. This is what I would take to a rally. I don't know if you can see my cup, but sunglasses and water, because you know you're going to be there for a long day.
Right? It's going to be a long day of rallying. And I got a new piece of thing. I'm going to bring my leopard print snap bracelet to every rally I go to. That's going to be my new gig. I'm going to be known for it. That's going to be what I'm known for.
I like it.
I'm just going to pass out leopard print snap bracelets at all rallies now. That's what I'm going to do. Teresa is the Director of Public Policy for the ARC and United Cerebral Palsy California Collaboration. We're here today to walk you through some of the key policies for this year, and then soon we're actually going to take action on some of these priority policies. So we want to make sure that you are well aware of them. So we are first going to walk through budget priorities in the California legislature. There is items that go through the budget process and items that go through the legislative process. The budget is a piece of legislation. It is a bill, but sort of two separate tracks. So first, budget proposals that we are supporting, part of the ARC, United Cerebral Palsy, and Easterseals, as well as other stakeholders that we work with. Let's go to the first one. The first budget proposal we want to make sure you know about is something we've been talking about through this whole conference, and that is the direct support workforce. Day one, we spent a lot of time on this. Day two, we did a whole session on this. As you know by now, there is a critical shortage of direct support workers supporting and serving individuals with developmental disabilities in California. As a result, individuals are going without services and supports, and also families are being left on their own. And this is a critical issue for us. As you've also heard over the last couple of days, that last year we had a significant win in the budget, that members of the legislature and the governor worked together with us to get a $2 billion investment into regional center services. So you got to ask, why are we having a shortage in the workforce? Can't we pay them a lot when we just got a $2 billion investment? The reason is that $2 billion is scheduled to be implemented over time, over the next few years. And what we are saying is that the time is now. We cannot wait any longer for that money to come in. We need a lot of that money to come in this year, in this year's budget, so that we can hire individuals to support Californians with intellectual and developmental disabilities now. This is an approximate cost of about $330 million. There is also so that's priority number one. And this involves the rate study, which some of you may have heard of, a study that looked at all the rates that we pay disability services providers. And so this is kind of called the rate study acceleration, accelerating the implementation of the rate models. So we want more of it this year so that we can hire people immediately. Let's go to priority number two in the budget. In addition to disability service providers, we know that regional centers have been critically underfunded for service coordinators. If you interact with a regional center as an individual or a family member, then you know that service coordinators are overburdened right now at regional centers. And so we are also supporting a critical ask to get more funding for more service coordinators at regional centers. And what this comes down to is an underlying formula of how regional centers are funded. It's called the core staffing formula, and we're asking for a fix to it with an investment of about $22 million general fund. And general funds means the money from the state, not including any money that the federal government would add as well. And so we are definitely supporting this ask as well. And that is the two budget priorities. And so we want to make sure you are aware of that. There's also a third budget priority. Teresa is going to mention and discuss that third budget priority.
All right. Well, we are really excited about this one. Well, all of them actually, but the dental expansion proposal is a proposal from the California Dental Association and a coalition that they're leading to get $50 million to expand access. But we're hoping that this is a first in a set or a series of requests, because the first proposal is to expand capacity in equipment, buildings, maybe, engage with freestanding centers, or, just different ways to expand the physical capacity to serve individuals who have more complex dental needs. So the proposal really includes the expansion of settings at university dental schools or creating additional capacity in the community. And part of this request or this budget proposal is that a certain number of people with disabilities have to be served. So if you get a grant for this, if you get money to expand capacity, the physical capacity of your dental clinic, your dental office, it comes with a guarantee to our community that a certain number of, or a certain percent of that increase or the patient population will be for people with more complex dental needs in the intellectual and developmental disabilities community, as well as other communities that have challenges accessing dental care. So that is, we're hoping, like I said, the first in a series, because we'd also like for the coalition to address, as we move forward, Denti-Cal rates, some of the other things that will go along with truly increasing expansion to dental care. So that is our third priority in our budget asks.
Awesome. Thanks, Teresa. So 3 budget priorities, which we want to make sure all of you know of. And you're going to receive this fact sheet as well, just so you know, with all of these priorities on it. The first is the acceleration of the investment. We need money now to hire direct support professionals. 2, we need money now to hire service coordinators at regional centers. 3, this exciting expansion of the dental expansion to make sure we can serve more individuals with disabilities. Teresa, let's kick it back over to you to walk through now the bills, some legislative priorities for everybody to know about.
Great. And before I jump into this, I'm going to do a quick shameless plug because we recently have heard that up to committee chair members, if they will maintain or continue to have the call-in option for the public to do Me Too's, some committee chairs are doing it and some are not. So if you have used that ability to call in and you like it, please, when you're advocating for any number of these proposals, include mentioning to your legislator that you do like having that call-in option. I think the more people that show that it's a value, the more likely we are to get to have it. So that's my shameless plug. Okay, and next slide, please. And everybody has heard about this, AB 1947, hate crimes by Assembly Member Phil Ting. He just spoke about it during his award, and we were really happy because this has been a priority for all of us, for our collaboration, to really look at how individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are viewed in reporting, right, in hate crimes. So this is a big deal, and it will require each law enforcement agency to adopt a hate crimes policy with specific parameters, and it will require the Commission on Peace Officer Standing and Training to develop the model hate crimes policy, which will then have to be used with every local law enforcement agency. So that is one of our sponsor bills, and we're very proud of that bill. Next slide, please. AB 2920, we are a co-sponsor on this, and it's the post-secondary education bill by Dr. Arambula, Dr. Joaquin Arambula. And this is a great bill. It would do similar, it's really to expand a pilot project, and it would require the California State University, and it would request the University of California to develop pilot programs that would establish and maintain inclusive college programs for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities at four-year public post-education educational institutions, which means that they would have that four-year experience. It would include student housing. It would include being part of all the extracurricular activities on the campus, and really get that four-year college experience. We are very excited about this. The other thing about this, should it pass, is that it really will help look at vocational opportunities, job skills, really person-centered programming. So hopefully, as people get the opportunities to get the four-year experience, the idea is that transition into work. So we're excited about that as well. And we will get information and fact sheets out about all of these bills as well. Next slide, please. SB 882 is one of our sponsor bills, and it's a Law Enforcement Advisory Council. Law enforcement interactions has been a priority for us for many years, and this would create a council within the Attorney General's office. This very specific purpose of this council would be to evaluate existing training and see how effective it is. We know, sadly, we know that law enforcement interactions can go bad quickly without, proper understanding of both communities for each community. So the advisory council is tasked with evaluating all the existing training and then making recommendations to the legislature for how interactions between communities could be improved. One of the things that we also know is that data is not, the types of data kept need to be increased. So this bill would also establish a mechanism for collecting more accurate data on these interactions. Next slide, please. SB 870, Developmental Services, is a bill by Senator Anthony Portantino. And, this bill has been, there's a lot of interest in this because it would redefine developmental disability by increasing the maximum age of onset for developmental disability from 18 years old to 22 years of age. And that would really be for the purposes of determining eligibility for services under the Department of Developmental Services and the Lanterman Act. So that would really increase the ability for people who maybe have received an injury between the years of 18 and 22 to access those services. So we're hopeful about that bill as well. Next slide, please. And then our next and I believe this is our last slide. We don't have a formal position on this bill yet. It's Assembly Bill 1663, and it's called Protective Proceedings by Assembly Member Brian Mainshine. And we're working with the author to address just different concerns about the bill, but ultimately the bill would revise how probate conservatorships, and this is good because our next session really will do a deep dive on some of the issues in conservatorship and supported decision making, so it'll fold nicely into the conversation. But this bill really revises how probate conservatorships are investigated, established, and terminated, and it would revise who may serve as a conservator for individuals with developmental disabilities. It would require the Judicial Council to establish a conservatorship alternative program within each self-help center. So kind of create a diversion program, if you will. And it would establish voluntary supported decision-making as a way to help individuals with disabilities, and requires the Judicial Council to administer a statewide supported decision technical assistance program. So you'll hear a lot more about conservatorship and supported decision-making in a later session. And that, I believe, wraps it up. Jordan, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Great job, Teresa. Only thing I will add is that you will receive a fact sheet with all of these bills and all of these budget priorities, as well as what you see on the screen right now, which is 3 ways you can take action. And as a reminder, we're going to take action collectively together in just about an hour or so on these top priorities. So make sure that you're a part of that. It'll be real easy, a couple clicks, and you'll be able to take action with us. So thank you, Teresa, for joining me in describing and giving some information on our top budget and legislative priorities this year. Let's see, we have time for one thing. Connie says the GAN Act discussed yesterday, it seems, may prevent the escalation of using funds already allocated this year. Can we advocate for some type of emergency exemption from GAN so we can get that escalation? Well, and that makes me happy because it means Connie was really paying attention to the presentation yesterday on the state budget and the GAN limit. And Connie, you understand really well then the intricacies of what we're trying to do here and the accelerating the investments and how we may be able to get that within and under the GAN limit or not. Regardless, no matter what, a lot of advocacy is going to be needed, whether it's considered under the GAN limit or not. So your advocacy and everybody's is going to be critically important. Teresa, thank you so much. And Teresa is going to be joining for a breakout session in just a little bit. And